We like to thank you with deep gratitude for joining us no, on these very timely and very relevant no, conversation. Of course, this is, we ask questions, that are kind of like, hindi naman po to spark controversy, no? But reversible kaya itong conditions na to, no? Ito ba napiprevent? Ito ba puwedeng, ma-cure, treatable po ba siya, and the like 'no? So, ihanda po ninyo yung inyong mga katanungan 'no. My name is Susan, Grace Rivera, and I'm your main host and anchor 'no. This was a forum that we simply ideated a number of years ago at natutuwa po kami na tulad ng sabi po ng kasama nating Gen Zer si Juan 'no, na ito po talaga community of communities. Kaya po kung merong bahagi po kayo ng isang community, please invite them, no? Let them have a watch party, no? Send in your questions, your comments, no? At hindi po ito yung pangkaraniwan na webinar. Hindi po ito yung passive spectator lang po kayo. Kasama po kayo talaga sa usapin, sa ating talakayan, no? You have chat, so you can put it on chat, whatever your questions are, no? At wag po kayong mag-aalala, no? Kasi we have this platform can take on, clearly more than 100. So invite your friends, it's not yet, and family members. Kanina po nung nag-Zumba ako, sabi ko, uy, halika kayo, join kayo 10 o'clock hanggang 12 o'clock. Habang nagluluto kayo, naghahanda kayo, o siguro habang naglalaba kayo. Join us, no? Marami po tayong matututunan. We are very honored to have with us Dr. Darwin Dasig, the esteemed president of the Dementia Society of the Philippines, whose wealth of experience, knowledge, expertise will guide us through the medical intricacies of these conditions. No? Welcome, Dr. Darwin. Palakpakan po natin si Dr. Darwin.
Hi, good morning.
Joining Dr. Darwin is Sister Maureen, or we can call her for short Sister Mao. She is the formation directress of the Religious of the Good Shepherd and BFF of mine. No? We go back a long way. Magkaklase po kami sa UST many, many years ago. She will bring a deeply personal, compassionate, and spiritual perspective by sharing her personal and family's journey in caring for her mom, Mami Nora, who suffers from the condition. No? Welcome, Sister Mao. Maraming salamat po that you can join us this morning.
Good morning, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, lalo na sa TLC community, to contribute to this conversation about dementia and Alzheimer's. And good morning then, Dr. Dasig. I'm glad also you are teaming up on this First Friday Forum. Thank you, Susan.
Salamat, Sister Mahawa. At saka may nakita akong maraming, mailan-ilan ng mga sisters also from RGS, no? Kwento mo rin sa atin, Sister Mao, later on, no? So, kasi nag-iiba na rin ang profile ng ating kamadrehan, di po ba, Sister Mao? So, we'd like to be able to understand how a religious community, a congregation, like the Religious of the Good Shepherd is taking care, of the older members of the community, no? Pag-usapan din po natin 'yan. Now, ito po yung sinasabi ko kanina, friends, no? Can you share the slide on adaptive action, no? Para may bahagi natin kung paano natin sharply, no, i-dissect yung ating tinatalakay. Ganito po ang tinuturo namin sa TLC. Kapag nagugulumihanan po tayo, naguguluhan tayo, we're faced with very VUCA circumstances. It's volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, it's ambiguous. It can be very, very overwhelming, no? Lalo't pag may kinalaman po sa ating kalusugan at kalusugan ng mga mahal natin sa buhay. Ito pong adaptive action is simple, no? No matter what age you are, as long as nandyan ka na sa age na merong self-reflective consciousness, no, na tinatawag, no, is yung first na tanong is what? Ano? Ano yung mga bagay-bagay, mga facts, no, na dapat nating malaman, patungkol sa dementia, patungkol sa Alzheimer's. Ano po ba? Yung isa po ba ay nagkukos, o ito ba ay isa lamang sa uri ng dementia? What? Pakikinggan din po natin ang mga datos, no? Statistics. And later on, there are a number of short videos that we will be sharing with you. Examine and be fully present. Examine how you're reacting to it, know what your thoughts are, your feelings are. Kaya po interactive ito. Ano po, you can just raise your hand and we'll cue you and call on you at the right time. Yung so what naman po, once napakinggan po natin yung mga kasagutan, halimbawa ng ating expert guests, no? Tulad ni Dr. Darwin, no? Tanong natin sa sarili natin, so what? Ano po ang kahulugan nito para sa akin, no? What is it? What does this mean for me? What is the ramification, the impact to me, my loved ones, no? The people who I care for deeply. Tapos yung pangatlo po, no, is that, now what? Ano na kaya yung aking gagawin, no? Ano yung mga alternatives, next steps na pwede kong tahakin, no, going forward? Simpleng-simple lang po to. Hindi lamang patungkol sa topic na tatalakayin natin ngayon, but about everything in life. What? So what? Now what? Okay po? I hope this will be helpful for you. No? So, Minds, para naman talagang introduce natin, may pakilala nating mabuti ang ating guests, no? Please, go ahead.
Thanks, Susan. So just a bit more about our speakers today. Apart from his role in the Dementia Society of the Philippines, Dr. Dasig really expands his efforts into his advocacy of really awareness through being a member of the Asian Society Against Dementia. He's also a board member in the DOST Mental Health Research Group, where he mentioned to us he also continues to play an active role in the mental health situation here in the Philippines. And he's also in the academe and a practitioner as well. So he's also a doctor in the field of neurology and past chair of the Department of Neurosciences in Makati Medical Center. And he also extends again his efforts also to being in the academe as a professor of the Department of Physiology in UP College of Medicine. So that is one of our speakers, Dr. Darwin Dasig.
Yes, palakpakan muna natin, no? And show our appreciation sa ating reactions button. Go ahead, Minds.
And we have Sister Maureen Katabian, or Sister Mau, is from the Religions of the Good Shepherd, RGS, for actually 33 years now. She went on foreign mission to Senegal and Burkina Faso, which is in West Africa, for 6 years actually. And in Burkina Faso, she was responsible for the initial formation of postulants as directoress of formation. So she actually returned to the Philippines 2 years ago in August, and is currently in charge of the pre-novitiate level of formation in the RGS Philippines, Japan province. So that is Sister Mao.
Yay! Thank you.
Our main anchor, Susan, is our TLC.
Ay, gusto ko na si Sister Mau magpapakilala, kay Mami Nora, no? Welcome again po, no, Doc Darwin and Sister Mau. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today to enlighten me, the rest of the team, multi-generations, no? Our audience based on your expertise, Dr. Darwin, and your lived experience, Sister Mau. Maraming salamat also for allowing yourself to be vulnerable, no? I thank you for the courage as well as the advocacy for just to open it, no? May we hear a few words from you both. First, Dr. Darwin, and then Sister Maureen, no? Why is this conversation about dementia and Alzheimer's important to have? Go ahead po, Doc.
So thank you for the invitation. I always take the opportunity to spread whatever knowledge I can because dementia is a silent epidemic. That means it is prevalent, as we will find out later, and yet it is unknown to most people. For those who know, they think that it is a natural consequence of aging and therefore not a disease and therefore not to be treated like diabetes or other illnesses. For those who think it is an illness, it is their notion that there is no treatment. And yet, it affects the uh, quality of life of persons. They cannot carry on with their lives anymore. You would probably lose their very essence of who they are. They can cause a lot of behavioral problems, and they may even tarnish the legacy that they have built throughout their lives. And of course, people around them can be affected by this, by the impairment of the cognitive function, but more also of the behavior that many times they become miserable and they would have to get separated. And yet, the idea is that this is a disorder which should be seen like any other disorder, and there are treatment options, as you said, both for prevention and actual treatment. So it's important for us to discuss this.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Darwin. No? I like what you said about the silent epidemic that is unknown. No? Salamat po. Sister Mau, what about you po?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me for this conversation. Actually, this will be very helpful also in understanding the dementia and Alzheimer's as a condition. Um, I'd like to say that I joined this forum because I also want to say that accompanying somebody with dementia is actually an experience of vulnerability, embracing, learn to embrace vulnerability because sometimes the person has been very independent all her life, very autonomous, not needing help from others. But suddenly there comes a point when the person will be very vulnerable. So it's like understanding this situation of vulnerability, how to accompany somebody. And also the carer will also be in touch with her own vulnerability as a person. So I think it's very important to have that shift in perspective in looking at this condition.
Thank you so much, Sister Mau. And can we please flash? No, gusto ko ikaw magpapakilala kay Mami Nora. No, para po pag naririnig nila yung ibabahagi later on, no? Please tell us a little bit, just a little bit about Mami Nora po, no?
Of course, I've been sharing this with my friends and some sisters. Mami Nora has been diagnosed with dementia since 2019. And before that, she was a very independent woman, a very strong woman who took care of 12 children. So this was taken last May during their activity of Flores de Mayo, and we encouraged her to participate because
Sister Ma, if you're having a bit of difficulty, siguro you can turn off, your video, and we'll return to you later on. So let's stop screen share. At least na-establish na po natin para po alam natin, kilala natin. Ang narinig ko sa sinabi, Doc, ni Sister Mau is, Mami Nora, she raised 12 children, no? She was very active. She was very independent, no? Until, the dementia has set in. I will go to the very basics, no? Dr. Darwin, what is dementia and Alzheimer's, no? Pwede po bang tulungan ninyo kaming maintindihan ito para po ma-recognize natin, no, kung ano ang mga sintomas nito, no? And what is the attitude that we take when we do recognize it in ourselves and in others? Go ahead po.
Yes, simply put, even using the academic scientific criteria of neurologists and psychiatrists, dementia is a condition due to brain dysfunction. So it has to come from the brain, from a normal brain that has deteriorated due to damage enough for them not to be able to take care of themselves. That is the simple definition. Okay, so it's not really a disease, but a umbrella condition that can be due to many conditions.
Right.
One of them is Alzheimer's disease. So Alzheimer is not equivalent to dementia. It is one of the conditions that can cause dementia, similar to, say, viral infection causing fever, cancer causing fever. So the most common cause of dementia is Alzheimer's disease. And this is characterized by an early loss of memory and progression of other symptoms to the point that they cannot take care of themselves first. And then they will also have behavioral problems like losing interest, apathy, becoming depressed, and then function. As mentioned by Sister Maureen, what you were able to do before, you can no longer do. So that is Alzheimer's disease. Now, there are other causes of dementia. The second most common is vascular dementia. I think Sister Maureen's mother has vascular dementia. This is a condition where you have small strokes, no? Small silent strokes over a period of time that you lose significant parts of the brain. You lose the brain reserve until you also cannot function, take care of yourself. Then the third will be dementia with Lewy body. That is a condition where, yes, you have memory impairment, but the more significant parts here are the psychiatric, psychological, behavioral abnormalities. Here, you will have hallucinations, delusions, agitation, to the point that the family cannot really take care of you, and you're brought to a nursing care because, for example, they will think that the children have been already replaced. People are trying to steal from them, or the husband has an affair, or her father is waiting for her house, so they can from the real house. So it can be a lot of agitation. Then the fourth most common will be frontotemporal dementia. Here, you have memory problem is not very important. It is the behavior. So you lose the good manners and right conduct. A person who has been trained, say, among the nuns or good education, they will suddenly curse. They would be very rude. They will be sexually aggressive. And that one is really very difficult. So bottom line, dementia is anything that will cause the brain to produce disorder that will no longer allow us to take care of ourselves, needing assistance from others. And there are many conditions affecting this.
Thank you so much, Doctor, because I've been taking note of this and I got what you're saying, maganda po yung sinabi niyo, no? Para siyang payong. It's an umbrella condition, dementia is, and Alzheimer's is the most common as you said. The second is vascular dementia. Sabi niyo, naku, tuloy kinakabahan ako, Doc, kasi nagkaroon ako ng TIA some time back, and I was told na meron akong mga silent strokes. Mamaya po, itatanong ko sa inyo.
Yes.
Baka malapit-lapit na ako dyan, no? Yung third po, where there's memory impairment, sorry po, I didn't catch you. What do you call that condition?
This is dementia with Lewy body. Maybe just to make it, especially for the younger people, Alzheimer will be Tony Bennett. And then dementia with Lewy body will be Robin Williams. It's so psychiatric, psychological.
I
He
see.
even committed suicide. It could be that. No, dementia with Lewy body, LEWY,
Uh-uh.
a contemporary of Dr. Alzheimer. And then the fourth is frontotemporal dementia.
Frontotemporal.
Frontotemporal. This is Bruce Willis.
I see. All right. Thank you. Thanks so much for allowing us a very a simpler way of understanding. No, Sister Mau, andito ka pa po. You're still connected. If you can unmute yourself, no, it's like I'd like to understand from you what might have been, the symptoms, the early signs. Kung pwede mo sigurong i-describe, Sister Mau, na nakita ninyo, ikaw at ng family, no, map natin doon sa sinasabi ni Dr. Darwin. Go ahead, Sister Mau.
When Mommy Nora was the first symptom that we saw was when she had a seizure, no? Parang nag-seizure siya, parang bumagsak siya, and then that was the time we brought her to the emergency in the hospital, and then nagkaroon ng MRI. So doon nila na-discover that there was parang merong lump dun sa brain, sa certain part of the brain, na may na-detect sila. And then the neurosurgeon said, because mom is already 85 years old, baka hindi na okay kung mag-surgery pa. So they advised us to do medication. So she started medication. They gave certain medicines to address the symptoms. Yung mga symptoms niya kasi, it's like drastic change of behavior, na she's naging very assaultive. Mommy has become assaultive. Of course, Mommy is a very strong woman, pero iba yung pagiging, parang mas naging siya may pagka-aggressive, and then, but sometimes yung mood changes, no? Yung sudden changes ng mood, mamaya masaya siya, then later magiging malungkot siya. So we were also confused, no? Because we didn't understand the sickness. And then, merong times na talaga nagigising siya sa madaling araw, and then she wanted to go out. And one time, syempre, sabi niya, pupunta siya sa airport, and then she will fetch my father. But my father is already dead. So hindi siya niniwala na namatay na yung father ko. So parang, yung mga thinking niya, parang hindi na namin maintindihan. At may mga kwento siya na hindi namin alam, is it true or is it made up, yung mga ganon. And then, ang nakakatuwa sa kanya, kasi meron siyang kwento sa bawat isa sa anak niya. So, kung 12 kami, may mga sharing siya about each one of us. Na minsan sabi namin, may konting truth, pero sometimes it's really parang storytelling. So, tapos meron din time na parang illogical na yung mga sinasabi niya na tapos yung wala na rin siyang orientation on time, sa time, at saka sa place, no? So yun yung mga initial symptoms na we didn't know how to handle her because nga she was very independent and very autonomous, no? So parang to show weakness was really very hard for her and also for us to accept that reality. So yun, marami pa akong kwento, pero siguro yun muna
Thank you,
yun.
Sister Mau. No? At least, thank you. Thank you. In fact, it was very detailed. It's just that, Dr. Darwin, it's not for us really to, really diagnose, etc. and all that. Pero dahil nga po, sinabi ninyo at medyo naiintindihan na namin ngayon na yung dementia pala is a term that refers, is an umbrella term, no? Pero habang pinapakinggan ko po, Dr. Darwin, si Sister Mau, para siyang parang may konti sa bawat condition na dinescribe ninyo, no? So, how do you, as a medical practitioner, no, know which is which po sa conditions halimbawa na or symptoms na ibinahagi po sa atin ni Sister Mau,
So
Dr.
the manifestation of any brain disorder is dependent on what part of the brain is affected. So I
Yes.
am thinking that Sister Maureen's mother had a tumor, and it is in an area that is affecting strongly behavior. No? So the seizure really indicates that there is a tumor, a structural abnormality. Now, just to highlight that there are many causes. So Sister Maureen's is different. It's a tumor. You can have a head trauma. You can have, for example, a vehicular accident, and it can be also dementia as long as you're impaired. No? So the most common cause is Alzheimer. This is due to an increased protein, beta amyloid, no? Increased protein that happens to deposit and destroy the part of the brain that is important for the storage of memory, consolidating short term to long term. That's why the start of Alzheimer is really memory. They may have 10 years
Mm,
of being forgetful, not being able to store information, and then it will spread. The damage will spread. You will start to have lack of interest. You can have depression, and then you can have inability to solve problems. You can get lost. You have problems with understanding, and even taking this, continue with conversation. It can continue, and eventually you lose your motor skills. You become bedridden
oh,
and just curled up. No, so that is the natural course of Alzheimer.
I
Vascular, of course, will occur wherever it occurs. So we can determine based on what part of the brain it is. The Lewy body that I was saying is important for, it has a different area, and therefore it will manifest with a different thing. No? But similar to what Sister Maureen said, the person can have delusions like uh, the father is waiting for her. People are,
yes.
yes, and this can be very, very difficult. In fact, Filipinos, we are proud of taking care of our elderly. So
Yes
we are
po.
ready. So most of the time when they become forgetful, we take it for granted as a natural thing. We don't bring them to the doctor. It is
Mm-mm.
only when the behavior becomes uncontrollable, even if you like to take care of your loved one, but you cannot because of the behavior. That's when you bring the patient to the doctor. And then, fortunately, that might, because you cannot deal with it, many doctors are not even aware of the condition or how to treat it.
Really?
Yes,
Mm.
they end up being brought to institutions. So it's very difficult that, towards the end of one's life, the the patient is alone in a nursing home, or the
Mm-mm.
family has severed their relationship with the family. So that's how it is. Or lastly, the frontotemporal dementia may start with inability to communicate. No? Language, cannot understand, cannot speak, or they can be very, very obnoxious. Uh, so those are the kinds of manifestation.
Doc, when you're talking about, just for me to understand a little bit more, when you talk about the inability to communicate, what do you mean exactly? Hindi nakakapagsalita or nawawalan yung words na
Yes,
sasabihin?
there are two kinds. One, because it depends on whether you affect the right or the left. If
I
you
see.
affect, yes. So there is a kind of frontotemporal dementia where their language is fluent, but they have lost the meaning of words. So they cannot determine that this is a hippopotamus. They will just say it is an animal, or if you get worse, this is something, or this is, that one. So they lose the meaning of words. So you call that semantic dementia. But there are also, if you affect it on the left, there are people who are unable to totally talk. They become mute.
Oh, wow,
Oh,
this is really complex, Dr. Darwin. But we're starting to understand it a little better. You have a question? Why?
if I may, Doc, and thank you for pinapalawak yung understanding natin about dementia. Veron had a very good question to your point about families not knowing when to bring someone to the doctor. She asked in the chat, how can we convince someone who appears to have the initial symptoms of dementia to see the doctor for proper slash early management? And or maybe they're not in denial per se, but they just don't realize that they're showing symptoms.
Yes.
Mm,
Uh, the
thanks,
basic
Mike.
answer is with extreme difficulty. Okay. The perspective of a disorder is the one who is sick is the only owner of the condition. So he has the right to seek consult, to know exclusively what he has. The problem with dementia is you lose the
Faculty.
capacity, yes, the
Mm,
capacity to understand, to make decision. So it's difficult. You have to be very careful. But there comes a time, especially in a little more moderate to severe, where the person really loses the decision making. So it's
mm,
up to the family to bring the patient to a doctor. Now, let us see the complication. Most families would not be aware. So probably they estimate worldwide only one third will be brought to a doctor. When
mm,
the patient is brought to a doctor, many doctors are not aware actually of dementia or other conditions. So many of them will not be diagnosed. For those who are diagnosed, many physicians would not know that there is a proper treatment. So many of them will not be treated. And for those who will be treated, maybe they will be treated submaximally. The dose of medication and the right medications are not given. And for those who are given medication, they will be given only for a short period of time. So the patient is
wow.
really at a loss. So that's how it
Yes.
is.
Thank you, Dr. Darwin. And, thank you so much also for the clarity and simplicity by which you're sharing with us these very fundamental, facts, that you're sharing with us now, the four types. And it's being very enriched, by the lived experience of Sister Mao, her family. I think I'm not quite sure if she has family members who are joining us now. And of course, Mami Nora, and how the condition evolved since 2018. I'm glad that you made mention of statistics po, no? We have some current global stats na I'd like for you to please share with us later, perhaps regional. Yun ang nakikita po natin na talagang kulang na kulang po talaga tayo sa research, sa datos dito sa ating bansa. But I'm sure coming from the Dementia Society of the Philippines, you will have a better view of that. Here's Minds to share with us some overall global stats. Go ahead, Minds.
Um, some of this also were mentioned already by Doc Dasig. So some figures about and Alzheimer's disease. This was taken from global research, as mentioned. Not a lot of local research available, but we're seeing that worldwide, living with dementia, and now we know it as the umbrella disease of other of the common causes. Over 55 million people worldwide are living with dementia, and those who are people living with dementia, PLWD, more than 75% of them are ages 65 and older. And I think Doc Dasig, there was a question earlier in the chat. Apart from those who are living older, how about the younger ones? Can they also experience this? New cases of dementia arises somewhere in the world every 3 seconds.
Every three
So if
seconds. Wow. Yung
so
mga stats na yan.
Yeah, a
Ang
comment
talaga.
on that is let's
Yes po.
count. One, two, three. There's a case of dementia now.
Oh my, kulang. Okay, go ahead, Minds. No?
And again, same also as what Dr. Dasig mentioned. Alzheimer's disease is the most common that arose as the common cause of dementia. So these are some figures we're seeing in terms of the number side globally about dementia and Alzheimer's disease.
Thanks so much, Miles. So, Dr. D,
Yes.
I hope you don't mind
People,
if I
people
might call
call me
you
D.
Dr. D.
Yeah, it's actually
Fantastic. So,
DDD,
parang,
right?
DDD. Dr. D. So, what about in the Philippines? So,
Yeah,
is this true for us as well
right.
in the Philippines?
There were two studies, no? An earlier study carried by the Philippine Neurological Association with the food and nutrition, but it was just a question. The other study is a community-based study, and in Marikina, done by members of the Dementia Society of the Philippines. In that, they estimated that there are 11% of people who are senior, no, 60 years or older. 11% of that have dementia. So I
Mhm.
think the latest is 12.2 million estimated senior citizens this year. So if that's point 11, that would be 1.3 something people expected to have dementia. Of course, we know that that is not our experience. No, very very few
Mhm.
people consult, but we think that there should be something like that, 1.3 million. The question
Mhm.
earlier, 65 years or older, yes, because that reflects Alzheimer. But there are conditions that are more common in younger people. So the most common in younger, so most people are older, no, but younger people, for example, they do have more frontotemporal dementia. Of course, they
Mhm.
can have strokes even at a younger age, and you will have vascular dementia if you have a head trauma, or if you have a tumor. It can be earlier.
Mhm. I see. I see. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I was just curious, Doc, no, because you said that not all doctors understand this condition. So ano pong klaseng doktora ang dapat puntahan pagdating po sa ganito? Neurologist po ba? Please enlighten us, Dr. D.
We are trying to change the situation, and it's good that we now have the Mental Act law. But in the past, neurology disorders of the brain have not been given much attention, no, for doctors who are in the participants now. They are aware that much less time was spent in neurological conditions. In my education as a doctor, Alzheimer's disease was only discussed for 30 minutes out of the 5 years. No? So many people are not aware.
I
So
see.
among neurologists, so who are the more aware specialists? Probably neurology, psychiatry, and geriatrics. But then
Mhm.
neurology would probably be the most, no? But among
Yes.
neurologists, they're not also all that aware in terms of treatment. So there are groups of people who are more interested in it. Uh, Actually, in the Philippines, it would probably be something like 20 people, no? It's not a
20. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
probably, no? And then psychiatry, fewer, probably three, geriatrics, you know. So now we are trying to increase awareness, and I think it's getting better. We're doing a lot of workshops with family physicians, with internists, and every opportunity that I get, something like this, for example, so I try
Yes po.
to spread, no, among lay people, among barangay health workers to increase the awareness.
Yes, and we're doing just that. And that's what we're advocating po talaga, Dr. Arwin. You know, to raise awareness and consciousness because it's happening right in our homes, no? Pero Sister Mao and Doc later, I'd like to ask you, Sister Mao, no? Nasabi mo na 2018, that's roughly 18. That's roughly 6 years ago, no? Can you tell us, it's like what you did, as you said, when you noticed this, these early signs and symptoms. Saan po kayo, Sister Mau, nagpunta, no? Marami ba kayong doktor na kinausap, kinonsulta, no? Can you share with us, how you responded as a family?
Okay. Actually, it was not an easy process for the family to understand the sickness and deal with the sickness because this is something new for us. But the first was because my father used to be a military officer. So our hospital is the Veterans
Oh.
Memorial Medical Center, where they have services there. That's where we brought her first. And then she was the neurosurgeon was the first one who attended to her. And
Okay.
then she has a regular checkup, no? We are given a regular checkup with the neurosurgeon or the neurologist. And of course, we have a doctor near our house in where we consult also if there are, for example, immediate medicines that she would need, or we consult, no, a doctor near our house. And not so many doctors because just the neurologist where we go to in the veterans. Maybe what we did, especially me, no, I tried to research about the sickness because
Oh,
I could not understand how to deal with it.
yes.
So I tried to look into information. I even joined the dementia support and
Support
advice
group?
group
Mm,
where
meron pala
I see a
niyan.
lot of experiences of the families. And I can that how somehow that helped me in terms of not feeling alone in dealing with this
Mm,
sickness in the family. And it's also important to even advocate to your own family, no? And because
totoo.
we were not even united on how we will deal with the situation.
Mm. Ay, nawala si Sister Mau. Babalik po siya. Nako, that shows you, I think we should feature that in one of our F3s. Ang mahal-mahal ng, connectivity, telecom sa bansa natin. Sa pinakamahal sa buong mundo. Pero this is the kind of connectivity that we get, no? But that's for another topic. Let's
Mhm.
explore more deeply the perspective, no, of Sister Mau, her family, and Mami Nora na nakilala nyo. Let me request our Strat HR, Liz Clarete, to read to us some anecdotal sharing from persons with dementia, their families, caregivers, no? And we will ask for for the a point of view of Dr. D kung ano yung nakikita niyang mga reactions, struggles po ng kanyang mga pasyente. Go ahead, Miss Liz.
Thank you, Susan. So allow me to read some anecdotes here, no? And this came from different parts of the world. Okay, we have an anecdote from a person with dementia, also someone who is an informal carer, and also a healthcare professional. So let's start with the box to the left, no? So sabi nitong person with dementia who is already at 101 years old, no? Being independent and having dignity is very important to me. So I feel lucky and don't want too much doctor or hospital interference. Okay. Now let's move to the next box kung saan makita natin is an informal carer. No? The person said, my life is focused on taking care of my family member, which has not allowed me to develop my own life or fulfill my dreams. Okay. Now let's move to another person with dementia, this time coming from El Salvador. The person said, early diagnosis and knowledge of the disease helps me to feel not too anxious, to feel safe, calm, cared for, and protected. Okay. Another person with dementia, about 70 years old, he said, I have covered all my bases, but in the meantime, I suck the marrow out of life and live each God given day to the max. Now let's take a look at a healthcare professional. The person said, "No day is alike as a nurse, despite how difficult it can be for residents with dementia or Alzheimer's disease. It's worth fighting to give them the best care they deserve." Another one from an informal carer. The person said, "It definitely opened our eyes to what really matters: human beings, your loved ones, the necessity to change our society, to show my kid what really matters." So, given all of these anecdotes, I hope I also encourage our friends here,
Audience.
our audience, to also share. No, put also on chat or even raise your hand. No, if you also want to share your experience and how do these compare with these anecdotes.
All right. Thank you so much, Liz. No? Yes, one, because I'm going to go to Dr. D shortly.
Um, just because a lot of folks have been very, very interested, Doc, and I really also want to ask Sister Mao. A lot of folks have been asking about the causes of dementia. Beyond just those mini strokes, what are the potential causes of dementia that we as the general public should be very aware of? And what are those early symptoms that set
That
off
is,
alarm bells in your perspective as a doctor na parang, okay, this warrants extra check, this warrants extra care, Doc D?
Respond to
I
this,
see.
no?
Opo.
Okay. Now, we in the medical field are trying to go into a wider perspective of managing patients. We are now into the biopsychosocial spiritual perspective of treating of managing patients. So we are not only limited to the biological components of disease. We realize that the disorder and the well-being of the person is affected not only by the biological but also by the psychosocial, cultural, and in the Philippines especially the spiritual. So I'm very happy that these reflections are given. We can see that it is very culturally related. So, for
Mm.
example, the second one, my life is focused on taking care of the family, which has not allowed me to develop my own life or fulfill my dreams. This is a perspective of, a dedicated family member. In the United States or in many advanced countries where life is individualistic, they have no choice, no? But a person with dementia, therefore cannot take care of themselves, would have to be brought to an institution. Whatever consequences that is, no, including the separation from family, the probably the loss of the independence and dignity of the person. Now, we are very lucky in the Philippines because we are an extended family. We have a lot of community interaction, and there are many people around us that really take care of people. So uh, we have that option. And yet, because of understanding, considering that this is a very unknown condition, there would be many problems. So just to be more clear, there are two kinds of caregivers, the formal and the informal. The
Yeah.
formal are those whose work is really to take care of the patient, no? So 24/7, support in feeding, in showering, in giving medication, in helping walk or sleep, no? So this is the formal caregivers. But we also have the informal caregivers. These are the family members, those the loved ones. Who is more important? Well, they are really partners. But it is very important to maintain the wellness, physical and mental wellness of the
Caregiver.
non of the informal caregivers,
Formal.
the informal, the family members. The formal, of course, it's like it's work, no? So they have time to rest. Uh, they have their provisions for taking care of themselves. But the ones that are at risk are the informal, the family members. One, because they might be guilty and they would want to dedicate their lives beyond the reasonable healthy way of taking care of them, of the patient. But also they have other factors. Imagine your mother. The mother is the source of how we are supposed to behave. We learn our
Yes.
behavior, ethics,
On
moral,
shape.
everything. And then suddenly everything is ignored. No, she doesn't know what is right or wrong. She behaves informally. So that is not only disturbing in terms of the quality of life, but it goes down to the very core of one's emotion. It's very difficult to accept, no? Or a father who you look up to as the driver or the director of the family, and then loses it. So there are so many things that should be addressed. So not only do we take care of the patients, but very importantly, we take care of the caregivers. So I think that's my comment here.
Mhm. Thank you
Thank you.
so much, Dr. D. Susan, I just like to mention and thank also, recognize also Isabel for reacting to the one of Dr. D's response. She said, so true, as an informal carer. So we have an informal carer from the audience who is a wife of an Alzheimer's patient. No? She said, my dreams are put on hold at first, but now
Mm.
I have learned that I can push on to my dreams while taking care of my husband. Time management is also essential. Thank you so much, Isabel, for sharing that.
Mhm. Wonderful. Thank you so much. We're gonna go, para makapahinga ng konti rin si Dr. D tsaka si Sister Mau. We're gonna go on a break, but before, and please, you're part of the conversation, no? Put your questions, comments on chat as you're doing. Thank you so much, no? In the meantime, Mix, please play this video before on slide 21 before we go on a break para meron po tayong something to reflect on when we get back.
Yeah, we're gonna wait for Irene? Okay, we'll wait for Irene. She's forgetting me. She'll look at me and say, where's Irene? That's tough. But if I let her see me cry, it's harder. I need to make sure she's gonna get that 100% care because I'm such a perfectionist. Nobody can take care of my Nina like me. Esa una muchacha guapa. The most challenging is not to get caregiver burnout. I didn't know the term until I hit some support groups. I was finding myself like breaking down and crying and thinking I was overwhelmed, and then I've got 4 kids and a husband and a mother-in-law here, and then Nina with, having to deal with all that extra stress, and my husband would say, you gotta just bend a little, you gotta be flexible. Mejor nieve? Even if it's the millionth time we've talked about that story, it's okay. It's just a moment together. You're learning something new every day. You think you gotta figure it out, especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, you don't. Don't even try to figure it out. You're gonna just drive yourself crazy. It's just better to just see it, recognize it, learn from it, and just grow. Mándale un beso, así.
Alrighty. Thank you. Thanks so much, and would like to bring back Dr. D as well as Sister Mau. Pakikwento nga po sa amin, no? Because we were saying earlier on that naputol po yung pagbahagi ninyo kanina. No? You were sharing that, it was a tough thing for the family. There had to also be, as Dr. D said, advocating within the family first. Can you tell us a little more about that and how you have gone through you have decided, to go through the interventions that were suggested to you?
Yes, the importance, Susan, of understanding the sickness, because there are, of course, when we take care of our loved one, there are reactions also, no, from the different members of the family, how we will handle her. And we always remind ourselves that it is the sickness that is causing this change of behavior for my mother, because there are some behaviors that we really cannot understand. So we are telling ourselves it's the sickness, it's not about you, because of course she has a lot of things. We are not sure where these thoughts are coming from, and we really cannot understand why she is telling us those things. And we are always reminding ourselves this is it's the sickness. It's not because of you or because of anyone in the family. So that was our first way of dealing with her. And then, of course, understanding the sickness itself, researching about it. What is vascular dementia? What is the difference with the other types of dementia with Alzheimer's? So, and then entering, joining an advocacy group, no, to listen also to experiences of others. So it kind of opened my mind on the
Dito po pag
reality
penetrate yan,
and slowly embracing this
so ito yung
reality.
malaki niya, no? Ito yung
And then, of course, we had to later on, when we were not able to really deal with the sickness, it's we're getting stressed about it, and then we we made a very important decision about how to take care of my mother. And that is when we finally decided, but it took a process for the family to agree, to agree that all of us wanted to give her the best care, but we are not able to really give it to her because of not all are available. Only two of us are taking care of her. But the importance also of support, no, the family support, community support, to feel that you are not alone, and really having schedules also in taking care of my mother, because I became an informal caregiver. Really, for 3 months, I have been being beside her, sleeping with near her, and anytime she would wake up, I would really respond to her needs. So from that experience, I understood how difficult it is to be a caregiver, to be a formal caregiver. So that because of that, I encourage also my family to decide, no, on whether we would entrust her to a home care, which eventually we did. We did
and we
decide
can hear
because we said that it's important that she be given the proper care, and then the security also. But of course, there were many difficulties also of fears, no? How
Yes.
will
Yes.
they be able to take care of her well, in the same way that we are also taking care of her as a family member? Of course, we are sometimes getting impatient also with her. Sometimes I also feel guilty that because she will really like telling she will begin telling stories from 10 p.m. and then
Mm-mm. Nawawala ulit si Sister Mau.
she will
Sister
finish by
Mau. 3 a.m., 10
3 a.m.
p.m.
So
to
I have to
3
be there
a.m.
to really have a schedule, no, over the taking care of my mother. So, and then eventually we decided, yeah,
I think what Dr. D,
we
uh,
have to
uh,
listen. We have to be with her. And that's it. So we decided last year, it's in 2023, that we should.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Thank you so much, Sister Mao. No, it's the way you describe it. It seems to be a smooth process, but I know, that is a very difficult process. That you and your siblings, the whole family, and of course, Mami Nora, no, what she must have been going through then. So, Dr. D, pwede po bang i-share ninyo sa amin? Lalo tigit maganda po yung sinabi niyo kanina na meron ng bagong National Mental Health Act. Hindi lang natin po, as you said, tinitingnan ang biological, pangangatawan, but psychological, spiritual, emotional, psychological, no?
Yeah.
And social, no? So Dr. D, How do you address issues like this? No, or do you?
Uh,
Or do you're just dealing with a patient when a family comes to you? No, paano pong ginagawa ninyo?
yeah. If it's okay with you, Susan, I feel guilty not answering Juan Gabriel's question, and
I
I
see.
will segue to your question because it's a matter of management and even comment on sisters' insights. No, so uh, I saw a comment that this is not a curable condition. That is correct. But majority of medical conditions are not really curable. No? There are really a few only, probably
Inulong
infection
mo
that you give an antibiotic, then the disorder goes away. Cancers, there are many now that are totally cured with chemotherapy and all other strategies. We are working towards a curable strategy in Alzheimer. If we can detect the uh, protein that is causing it early on, there are now experimental drugs that can destroy this and probably cure the patient with Alzheimer. But having said that, we're really left only with treatment. No? So, sister was saying they feel bad because there are things that her mother was saying which probably are hurtful, which is quite interesting because if you have impairment of insulin and the sugar goes up, you never get angry at the person who has a rise in sugar, or if the renin angiotensin aldosterone system becomes impaired, blood pressure goes up. We never get angry at the person with blood pressure elevation. So unfortunately, the disorder affecting the brain causes cognitive and behavioral. So we really have to have a change of perspective. We have to accept it as such, and sister has the insight. It is part of the disease. It is not something that she is doing to disappoint us or to hurt us. Having said that, uh, Juan Miguel was asking, can we avoid this? We have already come up with risk factors. No, in early age, education is the most important. So our brain, if we are well educated, it is more protected. Sometimes the very highly educated people have a lot of damage to the brain, but they still can go on. So education is important. All children should have good education, and we should always have a continuous learning. If you can have, several languages and all of this. In midlife, hearing loss turns out to be the most significant. So those people with hearing loss, you have to protect them because they are at a higher risk of developing dementia. No, others are trauma, so avoid causing head trauma. Hypertension, control your blood pressure, and this is probably the most practical way to avoid
Mm.
dementia. Alcohol should be taken in moderation. No? They say not more than 21 units per week. Probably that will be one bottle of beer every day. That's the minimum, or one glass of red wine
One
every
glass
day.
of red wine.
Yes. And then obesity, control obesity. In older age, smoking, depression, social isolation, physical inactivity, air pollution, diabetes. You can see that the pandemic was really bad, no? They had social isolation, physical inactivity, all of these things. So we try this as a risk control of risk factor, and then there are medical management. There are medicines that are available. They will not cure, but they will control the symptoms. What do we want a patient to be? In Alzheimer, they might be forgetful, but they are easy to take care of, interacting with family, happy with the members of the family. We can take care of them and keep them at home, no? Uh, uh, and then
Yes.
dementia with Lewy body, as I said, is most difficult because of the very right. So dementia with Lewy body has a lot of very difficult psychological, but they respond to medication. So I pity the family who are desperate because the patient is saying hurtful words, seeing things. For example, a patient cannot eat because he always sees insects in the food or seeing
Mm.
people in the room, that can be managed very well, no? So that's medical, and then we also have
I see.
non-pharmacological. So what are the non-pharmacological? Physical activity. We recommend 150 minutes per week of aerobic exercise. That means anything that's moving the lower limbs, the biggest muscles of the body, and the most practical and easiest is really walking. So if you can do 30 minutes 5 days a week, or 45 minutes 4 days a week of walking. Other alternative will be bike, stationary, dancing, mental activity. No, so crossword puzzle, Sudoku, mahjong has been noted to be very good, and social
Wow. Pati
interaction.
mahjong.
Yeah, because mahjong is quite complicated. It has a lot of strategizing, and you
Yes,
have to
that's true.
respond. Yeah. And then social interaction. So those are the things that we need to do. And because these conditions are multifactorial, we need to adjust them also with multimodal. So this has been proven
Mm.
by research. So we need to do risk factor control, medication, and then non-pharmacological. There are many non-pharmacological, by the way, huh? Music, art, cognitive reminiscence, and all of these things. Ah, and then finally, we look at the biopsychosocial spiritual. So we have to take a look at what is happening. A patient has dementia that is biological, but then we have to look at the family. What is the interaction of the family? And then what are the factors in the family's sister was saying, guilt? We have to discuss our spiritual beliefs. I think we also have to look at it in a bigger perspective. We have to force the government to do something. We have to develop dementia-friendly communities wherein a person with dementia
Yes.
can still live in the in their community because the traffic, the transport, the cars are safe. They can walk around. They have parks. They have groups that will allow all of these things that I said. No? So that's a very holistic way of looking at the treatment.
Wow. It's really mind blowing. No, but it is so, thank you so much, Dr. D, kasi it's so practical po yung mga shinare ninyo, no? First, you started with a perspective of ang pananaw po talaga yung mag-change, no? Hindi lang yung katawan po ang ating obserbahan, but psychological, social, pakikitungo sa iba, spiritual, no? Approach to healing conditions such as these, no? You mentioned those that come with age, no? Doc, yung pag sa genes po, no? Kasi that's also one of the risk factors, no, na palagay ko hindi natin makokontrol, at least at as of this time, no? Does this mean, Doc, na pag ang aking magulang or lolo-lola or there's somebody in my family na nagka-experience po ng nagkaroon po ng dementia, any of the dementia conditions, especially Alzheimer's, no? Does this mean that my chances of also manifesting these, no, at some point in my life is higher?
We know that we are our genes, no? So we cannot get away from that. Dementia with Lewy body, frontotemporal dementia, there's not much established genetic correlation. But Alzheimer, if a person has a
Alzheimer.
very strong Alzheimer genetics, that means a person had it earlier, age 65, then the chances of the children direct first degree relation is something like 4%, 4 times higher than the general population. You're not confined to become that, but you have a higher risk. If they got it at an older age, say 75, 80,
Mhm.
then the vascular risk factors are more probably significant. And therefore, we can decrease the chance by improving hypertension, diabetes, healthy lifestyle. So you're not necessarily going to have it. You know? Depression and uh, sleep, by the way, is a good It's an important risk factor, not yet in the official list, but we should
Mm,
also get enough sleep, no? At least not less than 6 hours. Okay,
not
so
less.
you're not going to have it necessarily, although, as I said, if one parent got it at an earlier age, say 65, then you have a higher risk, but you have all of these ways of avoiding it.
Mm-mm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. D. That truly expanded our perspectives. No? And at the end of the day, what you're saying no, is very clear no, that it's also about our lifestyles no? And what we eat, how we exercise, how we relate with others, how we manage our stresses and the like. No? Before we go back to Sister Maureen, no, to Sister Maho, I'd like you to go to that example from Singapore, Amico. We have a slide here kasi we're looking at support communities. No? In fact, tatanong natin kay Sister Maho ano yung naging experience niya bukod sa kanyang pag-research no, or online. Itatanong din natin si Dr. D kung ano yung mga support groups that we can actually reach out to. But can you show that slide that shows the example from very nearby Singapore in Southeast Asia? So it says here, I'd like to show this and allow me to read through it. No? Napakaklaro po, Dr. D, Sister Maui, and dear friends who are in this F3 call. Ang outcome na dinefine talaga, tatlo. One is to facilitate early identification. Number two, promote preventive activities. So yan po, very much aligned sa sinabi ni Dr. D kanina, preventable siya. Three, provide care and support for those who are already who already have the condition. No? The concept here is that the DFC or the dementia-friendly community is one where people know about dementia and mental wellness or well-being. Persons living with dementia and their families feel included, not excluded. They feel involved and supported in that community. Tapos, ang strategy po nila ay tatlo. No? Engage, empower, enable. 3 E's. Pag sinabing engage, no? They do that in the community by raising dementia awareness to keep a lookout no for persons living with dementia no sa empower naman ito po yung mga at risk no at saka at risk individuals as well as caregivers no they empower with services and support that cater specifically to their needs. Naalala po ninyo yung sinabi ni Dr. D kanina, no? Merong informal and formal caregivers. And ito naman, patungkol sa partners because it does take a village. Di po ba, no, Dr. D and Sister Mau, no? Enable in adopting dementia-friendly designs. Yan po yung sinasabi ni Dr. D. Parang hindi pa po talaga tayo masyadong, proactive no? I'm just saying this to be constructive. Kasi maganda po na tayo mismo ang nag-uumpisa. Let's have, a petition, for instance, and send it to our mayor or send it to our congressman and all that to say, pwede po ba sa mga disenyo ng ating environment that they design an environment that is dementia-friendly so that persons living with dementia can live well within the community. Tsaka makikita po ninyo na marami silang initiatives. So I'd like to ask, thank you for screen sharing, I'd like to ask Sister Mau, no? Sister Mau, sa pagkakaalam po ninyo, sino pa po yung supportive community or communities that you had to reach out to para po magabayan kayo no, in the decisions that you make, as well as now that Mami Noray is already under care of an institution? Sister Mao?
Um, yung yeah, can you hear?
Yes,
When
Ken.
we tried to okay, when we tried to make the decision to put Mommy Nora in a home care, of course, I researched that in the web, and then we found this institution. I will not mention the name, but it is actually a dementia village. They call the home care like really taking care of dementia patients. And I found the place very homey. It's not like a hospital. It's really just like a home. And we are even encouraged to visit her as regular as we can. So like every week, if we are free, we really come. We really and of course the connection between us and my mother is always the food, no? Because she
Mhm.
likes to cook before and she loves to eat. So that's how we connect with her. And it's unifying the family. That's like we really set a date and all of us will come. So I feel happy with that kind of setup that we're able to visit Mami Nora every week as much as we can. Because when she was at home, it was like we feel so isolated. But with the
Mm.
community being a dementia village, it's
Mm.
like you get of course we do not see them, but we only see Mami Nora. But we know that she has a community, and then they have activities during the weekends, which I think is very helpful for them to feel that they are not alone and to always make the connection with my mother. Because whenever she sees us, she's really so very happy. And of
Mm.
course, when it's the time to say goodbye, we can really feel how she of course, but maybe because of the what do you call that? She wants to see familiar faces always, or like
Oh,
people who are
I see.
consistently with her. So if
Mm-mm.
there are changes in people who are taking care of her, like because there are shifts, no, in caregiving,
Yes.
sometimes I think that's the time when she has difficulties or she feels agitated or but if
Mm-mm.
there is a constancy in terms of connecting with her, like a regularity,
Mm-mm.
I think that's helping her very much. And of course, she does not get confused, no, because she will always, when she sees our faces, she really knows us, no, identifies us. And then we are saying, while she can still remember us, we have to see her as much as we can, because I don't know the time when she will forget us. But during the time that she can recognize each one of us, we really visit her as often as we can. So I think the connection and then the unity, the support of the family. So sometimes we bring her out also, and she likes to go to restaurants to eat.
Wonderful.
And yeah, it's important to have a dementia-friendly restaurant also,
Mm-mm.
because of course you
Yes.
never know what she will exhibit as a behavior, no, we cannot predict. But then we will explain to the people in the restaurant she has dementia in secret, of course. And
Mm.
then so I think that's very important, the support of the wider community, a
Mm-mm.
dementia friendly community.
Thank you so
So
much,
that's how we
Sister
are
Mao.
dealing with the situation of
Thank you.
Mommy Nora.
Thank you po. No, you mentioned two things, no, connection, no, consistency, and three things pala, and community. So, Dr. T, tell us about this community. Medyo nabahala po ako sa sinabi niyo kasi kanina na kakaunti lamang sa mga doktor, kaunti lamang sa mga neurologist, psychiatrist, etc. ang talaga pong nag-specialize, no? You only had 30 minutes in your medical training to talk about this, considering ito na po kakaiba ang hinaharap nating pagsubok. So, what is it that is out there po, Dr. T, that we can reach out to?
Given the limited time, let me just take this opportunity that you are TLC Talent Leadership. Uh, there must be a lot of talents here and a lot of leaders here. So I hope my advocacy will somehow help you have an understanding of what else to do. Okay, so I've been with this advocacy for more than 2 decades. We are a very small voice. As I said, we are very few, and even the whole medical field would probably not be able to change the government. It is the government that will be most effective. I've heard a talk by a Japanese health officer. He said that the dementia-friendly communities are driven from the top and from the local group. No, so the national government pushes for the local government to produce dementia-friendly environment, and they have to follow that. On the other hand, the local communities, local government, they compete with each other so that they will have a better thing. But in the Philippines, everything is sariling sikap. So Sister
Oo,
Maureen is,
kanya-kanya.
yeah, Sister Maureen is lucky that she was able to get a dementia-friendly facility, which is not very uh, numerous. But what we really want is that the patient stays in their community, in their home, able to live their lives meaningfully. So it's really a dementia-friendly community. There are two organizations that have specific interest in dementia. No? We have the Dementia Society of the Philippines. This is more professional. So these are doctors, neurologists, psychiatrists, geriatrician, family physician, and allied psychologists, nurses, speech pathologists, physical therapists, music therapists. And we
Mm.
work similar to what we're doing now in order to promote this. The other one is the Alzheimer Disease Association of the Philippines. This is
Mm.
more geared towards caregiving. So they have a caregiver support group. No? So we work together with the Philippine Neurological Association. So these are the things that we can offer, but we really are a small voice. Okay.
Mm.
So I hope your group realizes the importance, as you said, talk to your mayor, talk to your governor, to
Absolutely.
your congressman. Uh, After several decades, we were able to have somebody sponsor the Mental Health Act, which became the Mental Health Law, which is originally psychiatry, which they realized there has been a lot of suicides and mental health problems. But as neurologists, we were able to sneak in, at least three conditions: epilepsy, dementia, and neurodevelopmental. So now we are uh, viciously or
Issues.
yeah, we are trying to really so we are developing our strategies along with Department of Health. We really are aiming for a national dementia plan, so it's a more
Wow.
coherent, yes.
Wow.
And in fact, that is a directive of the World Health Organization, and many countries have that, even in Asia.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Darwin. And consider us, Dr. D and Sister Mau, part of that, no? Yung sinabi po niyong vicious, gusto ko po yun. Talagang determined po, no, sa ating advokasya, no? And collaborative partnerships po talaga ang pinaka-importante dito. Hindi po kanya-kanya. And Dr. D and Sister Mau, hindi po maliit yung boses ninyo. Palalawakin po natin yan, no? Lahat po ng magagawa namin to support, we will do that, no? But talking about voice, I'd like us to wrap up, no? Let's watch this video. It's brief, but they are, dementia patients with Alzheimer's, I believe, no? Let's listen to them before we go back to Dr. D and Sister Mao with their parting words, no?
The way I explain it to people is I am in a new life. My former life no longer exists, and it's up to me to create a new life.
I knew something was wrong. It's not normal to not be able to calculate a tip anymore. It's not normal to not do math in your head and to be able to subtract or add numbers. It's not normal to not remember conversations or to attend a training class and not remember what was taught.
More and more words are going away, and there are a number of words that no matter how I remember them, they are not there. I can say, okay, now I've got it, and two minutes later, I won't have it.
With Alzheimer's, you don't have an option. It's just not there. The information is just gone.
It seems to be particularly difficult for those of us with Alzheimer's early onset to have, sorry, I got a little bit, okay, where was I?
Frustrating is the word that comes to mind. I am frustrated with the fact that I don't know what 32 minus 7 is without a pen and paper. It frustrates me that I have no idea what today is, but I do know it's Friday.
First thing I lost was my car, so I was no longer able to use my car for various reasons. I got a bicycle, and I've had 2 crashes with that, and I think part of that is spatial.
Now I have a new job, and that job is to be loud and proud about my disease, to share my symptoms with everyone and anyone who will listen to me.
I'm able to be useful, I'm able to surround myself with a lot of people, which is absolutely the most important thing you can do with Alzheimer's.
Everyone always tells me I look good. Well, what does that have to do with anything? I keep saying to people, I'm going to walk around in a bathrobe with a towel on my head. You know, no makeup, just an old hag. And then maybe then they'll think I have Alzheimer's. But this is what Alzheimer's looks like. It looks like me.
My name is Chris Hannafin.
My name is Pam Montana, and this is my brief but spectacular take.
Brief but spectacular take
on living with Alzheimer's.
This is a very difficult condition that at present has no cure. But if we cannot cure, we have to try to heal. So we have to look at the whole person and give comfort. We will all get ill and we will all die, you know. But what is important is the quality of life given the condition that we have. So in dementia, what we want is really to give comfort, and for whatever faculties that we can improve, we can enjoy the person's love and sharing as best as we can. No? So that is our purpose in healing and taking care of persons with dementia.
So for me, I think the important thing is self-compassion and self-care. What I'm saying is the importance of self-compassion and self-care, especially for those who are caring for their loved ones, accompanying loved ones who have dementia or Alzheimer's, because it's important that we take care of ourselves so that we can also provide a quality care to those people whom we are accompanying. And really to take time out, respite care, no, you really do something that will really help you, like do meditation, do some movement, exercises, good healthy food. So anything that will help you improve your health and wellness, I think is very important. And also to recognize that caregiving is really a very important mission, because before I just think of caregivers as just a work, no, but now I think it's a very important mission to be a caregiver, formally or informally, especially if we are accompanying people who are sick with dementia, Alzheimer's, and all the types of dementia. So I think that's what I can share, the importance of self-care and self-compassion. Thank you.